Hey card making friends, Sandy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to walk you through making 4 cards with the small die of the month for July 2025 from Spellbinders and this adorable little guy, which is the bonus gift if you have the deluxe Caboodle subscription. Okay, starting with the small die of the month, there are 3 heads, 1 body. There are 2 dies to make the handle, 2 dies to make the little head where the whipping cream is. There's some extra pieces when you get into Mr. Santa Claus. And for the little gingerbread guy, this is kind of cool. They added this extra little die so you could cut the top of his head off and you could use them to make one of the little mugs as well, the little cocoa mugs. And so I've done that here. I have made a regular one into a Christmas tag with a little snowflake on his bum. And then here's the one that I made the little cocoa mug with. Isn't he sweet? Super adorable gift this month. Spellbinders cardstock I'm using for today: chiffon, cranberry, Tuscany, waterfall, teal topaz, fawn, truffle. And I just released 4 new card packs of treasured cardstock, and these are all kind of shimmery and shiny. There's onyx, ruby, aquamarine, and antique, and they're going to be perfect for holiday cards. To make the little whipping cream tops on each of my cocoa mugs, these little guys are right here, I decided to use this flocked cardstock, and it's from Simon Says Stamps, and I'll link it below. I pre-cut everything for the 3 different projects today, and I've got them piled into my craft stacks to keep them separated. We're going to start with the little penguin guy, and this is the body, and you're going to use that for all of the projects. They all start with this base. So then we have a little white tummy and we have a little white face, okay, with little eyeballs. There's 2 faces that look like this. How you tell the difference is between the beak here and then reindeer nose up on the other one. Okay, so I'm going to use my Barely Art glue because I need the really fine tip for some of the smaller details for today's projects. And I'm starting with his tummy. And there is a very light indentation in the black body that shows you where to glue these down. It doesn't show up in my video, but they are there. Okay, so then we're just going to add the head. Add a couple small dots of glue, and then we're going to add the little black eyeballs. The black from the body was showing through, but it was indented, so I decided that I would add his little eyes too. So next we're going to add his little beak, and make sure you get it right side up. One side is longer than the other. The long side goes near the bottom. And next we're going to work on his whipping cream hat. So again, we have 2 pieces. The background solid piece I cut out of glimmer paper, and it's a little bit iridescent, but mostly white. And then I got the flocked cardstock is going to be my overlay, because it's nice, soft, and fuzzy. So the glimmer paper takes a little bit longer to dry, so you want to make sure that you really push that down. Get a little bit extra glue in there just to make sure everything sits, and then you are going to add the little body of your penguin over top. Next, we're going to work on his little scarf, and there's 4 pieces to the scarf, and you're going to use these 2 dies. Let me just show you here. Okay, so this one and this one. One's an overlay and one's the base. And the base again has little indentations to show you where you're going to glue the overlay to. So you're going to add as little glue as possible to the back of this so it doesn't come squishing out. And then overlay them. Okay, so that's the neck part. And then this part is the part that hangs down. And again, a little bit of glue on the back. And the fine tip on that glue really does help for these projects. I tried another bottle and I had glue everywhere this morning. Okay, and a little dab in the top right hand corner, and then add it to the neck part on a bit of an angle. And I'm just going to hold that in place for a couple minutes. I'm going to add some glue to his neck, and then we're going to lay this down. These go together really quickly. I was quite surprised, but I shouldn't be. Spellbinders does such a good job with their dies. Okay, so that's finished. when you're cutting out the handle for your cocoa mug, there's also a little guy, and it creates this little candy cane. So I did this in red and white, and again, it's the same as the scarf. There's an overlay and then a solid piece with indentations to show you where to glue the pieces on. And I'm going to put that up into where the whipping cream is. And next we're going to work on the handle, and same thing, overlay and solid piece. And I did this in the light and the dark, the waterfall and the teal topaz. I really like that color combination, and especially for Christmas I like it with the dark red, and that's why I chose the cranberry for the highlight colors in the red. Okay, so we just got to line those up a little bit. Then you're going to lay it down, put a little bit of glue at the top and the bottom of the handle, and then move your penguin right over top and push it into place. So then all we have left to do is a little bit of embellishing, and I'm just holding on to this for a sec to make sure that the glue sets. I'm going to add his cheeks next, and his cheeks are from a long skinny die. It's got a little heart, it's got the nose for Santa, and there's two cheeks. I'm pointing to it right now. And then there's also these little inlays for the ears for the reindeer, and they're all on that one strip. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that candy cane, and it's going to go in behind my whipping cream. So I had a few extra hearts left over, and I decided that maybe I'd like to add one to his little tummy, and then a couple up in the whipping cream. Nice embellishments. And I like odd numbers, so 3 on there is good. So again, using your embellishment wand to pick up little pieces of paper makes it really, really easy to do this kind of dies and gluing together. Okay, so that's finished. I'm going to put it back into its craft stack, and we're going to move on to Santa. And I did a couple of different things with Santa. I'm just showing you that there is a little snowflake that you could add to that if you wanted to as well. I tried to cut out all the embellishments in a few different colors just to give you guys an idea. So for Santa's hat, you could do the same thing as we did with the previous one and have it white, but I decided I'd like it red. So starting with the body, again, I'm doing the red body, and then we have his beard, okay, and we're going to use that, but I need to glue his buttons on first because they go underneath his beard. So the buttons are down here in this little die, and I'm just going to hold on to them with my tweezers because they're very small. I'm going to place the beard on the body, but I'm not going to glue it down, just for placement. Then I'm going to add some glue to the back of this little strip with the buttons, and I'm going to just lift the bottom of the beard and hopefully place it about the center of his body. Okay, so now I can glue his beard down. Over that, I'm going to add his face, and I cut his face out of chiffon, as you can see here. And I didn't bother doing any ink blending on this because I gave him pink rosy cheeks and a pink nose, and it's enough of a change of color to really make it pop. So feel free to go ahead and add some ink blending to yours if you want to. Okay, and little tiny eyes, and again, your embellishment wand is a really good way to pick these up and put them in. A little bit more inlay. Okay, and then now he's got this little mustache, which is kind of cute. And again, I'm going to use my tweezers to hold on to this and add just a little bit of glue. And you want just a bit of his face showing underneath. Okay. And that's what's nice about using the glue is you've got a couple of seconds to maneuver that around and get it straight. I'm giving him a nice little pink nose. Okay, so his pink nose came from here. That's the same nose that I'm going to use on Rudolph. And again, his cheeks. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue on either side and then add his little cheeks. And those came from there again. Okay, so then here is his top. So I'm going to pretend, I guess, that his whipping cream is red. And again, red glitter paper and then the cranberry overlay to get the lines through there to make it look like whipping cream. Maybe smashed up candy canes, right? So you could go either white or red. I'm just showing you there. I had both of them cut out, but I decided at the last minute to do the red. So again, we've got our little handle that we're going to build, and I'm showing you all this because I'm holding on to these two pieces to get the glue to set, because the glitter paper takes a bit. So again, a little strip of glue across the bottom, and then pick up Santa and lay him over. And you're going to notice there's a gap. Don't worry about it. We have a nice little fuzzy brim to add to it. And again, I cut that out of the flock paper, and there's the die. And this just really cleans up that join. Makes it super cute. There we go. You want to hold that in place for a minute because it's not flat where you're putting that. There's 2 layers of cardstock on the top and only 1 on the bottom. Again, we're going to make another little candy cane. So every time you cut out a handle, you get a candy cane. So you'll end up with quite a few leftover pieces that you don't use. So the handle for this one is also going to be in red and white. Go, lay that over. Make sure it's lined up. So the curve on the right hand side goes right to the very edge of the white piece that's underneath. Add your glue at the top and the bottom and attach. Okay, so I'm going to set him aside, and I'm going to leave the embellishments until I get it ready to put the card together, and we are going to put the card together at the very end. So there's extra pieces there. Got a pink heart and a red heart and a couple extra cheeks. Now we're going to work on the little reindeer, and he's really cute. So I'm using the 2 browns. That was the Truffle and the Fawn. So we needed a light and a dark. And I'm going to start with his face and add that. Okay, and then his little tummy is also done out of the fawn color. And there's a little bit of embossing on his tummy, which is kind of cute. It makes it look kind of fuzzy. And it's built into the die, which is cool. So this little guy's got ears. So there's 2 ears that I did in the dark brown, and then these little pieces here are the inlays for his ears, and I did those in pink. They're the same color as his little cheeks. So you're just going to, I'm just looking to see, they kind of look like they're not quite the same. Making sure that there's not an angle going a certain way. Line them up in the center. There is a faint glue line on the ears to let you know how much room you've got for an overlay. Okay, so for this one, I'm going back to the same white on white. So the fuzzy paper on the top and then the iridized glitter paper underneath. Gluing those 2 together. And that's going to be his whipping cream hat. Okay. Adding a little bit of glue to that and then popping him over top. He's cute already. Next, we're going to add his ears, and they go just to the side at the very top of his body. And you'll see when you cut them out where the line is to add the glue and to line up the edge of his body. Those little ears are really cute. They remind me of my corgis. Okay, so for his handle, I decided to do it in brown as well. I had cut it 3 different ways. I did a red and white one, and I also did the 2 teal colors, and I didn't like either one of them, so I chose the brown. So he's going to be my subtle card. Not that I make very many subtle cards, right? Okay, so just lining that up, making sure you got everything nicely to the edge, getting rid of any blobs of glue that you've got hanging out. And add another blob at the top and the bottom. And pop the body on there. Okay, it's Rudolph, so we're going to give him a red nose. If you don't want Rudolph, you can give him a pink nose. And his nose came from there. Okay, and then I'm just straightening his nose out a tiny little bit. Next, we're going to add his little eyeballs. So I'm going to pop a little dab of glue into each one of those holes, and then I die cut them in black. I really like the contrast of that, instead of just having the brown showing through. Okay, and he's got little pink cheeks too, so we're going to add a little dab of glue on either side of his nose and add the cheeks. Same color as his ears. Okay, so he's going to have a scarf, and again I did it in two-tone teal, so waterfall and teal topaz, the dark over the light. So just lining up these little pieces. That's the piece that hangs down, and then this is the neck piece. You could go without if you want, but I found that it really dressed him up a little bit. It gave him a little bit more character. Okay, adding that little dab on the side and then angling out that bottom piece. You want to hold on to that for a sec until it sets. And then I'm just going to add some glue to the back of the neck piece and attach it. See, doesn't that make him look cute? This is a really, really sweet die set. I love this. Spellbinders is doing Christmas in July. I think this is year number 3. Okay, we need another candy cane. There's a candy cane theme going on here, just in case you didn't notice. Gluing that down. And I'm going to leave those again for the final part of the card and add the embellishments at that time. I just wanted to bring back the little gingerbread dude for a second and show you that I used Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo to go around the edge of him so that he looked like a baked cookie. I got a little dark in the top right corner. It looks like a burnt cookie. Okay, moving on. We are finishing a few cards, starting with the penguin. I added a couple of snowflakes. And then for this little guy, I added 5 snowflakes all across the card. For both of them, I'm using the Spectrum AB Color Essential Gems in the center of the snowflakes and around them a little bit. And for all 4 cards today, I'm using the Clear Stamp and Die set of the month, which is Cocoa Greetings. And you can see that on the first card, I stamped it on white and cut it out. On the second card, I actually stamped it right onto the background. For the next 2, we're going to look at a couple of embossing folders. The little reindeer got the 3D Starry Snowflake embossing folder. I think this is my new favorite for snowflakes. And Santa got the other regular embossing folder, and that's called Frosted Stitch. And I did a little bit of ink blending with just a little bit of broken china Distress Oxide inks on those 2. A couple other backgrounds that we could have done. The Glimmer of the Month is absolutely fabulous. It's called Arctic Glimmer, and I decided to white glimmer foil it on black cardstock, and I did the sentiments as well. There's 2 sentiments with the set. For the Better Place plate for this month, it's called Festive Press, and I decided to glimmer this as well. And so I did that on a piece of, what I used, teal topaz. And I used some new foil that I just got. This is a speckled prism. It's very cool. And I did the sentiments as well. So that could have been for the little reindeer. See, I'm showing you the new foil. This is kind of cool. It's not new to Spellbinders. It's new to me. And it's got kind of a AB iridized finish to it. It rocks. A stenciled background could be another option. This is Warm and Woven, and there's 2. This heart one is 1 stencil, and then the other one is layered. That's it for me. Here's my 4 cards that I made with the Small Die of the Month and the Caboodle bonus. Everything I've used today is listed underneath the video. There is also a link over to my blog where you can get all the details for the cards, as well as thumbnails that you can click on to check out the different products. And if you enjoyed today's video, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. It really does help my YouTube channel. And until next time, toodles!